Welcome to the OVW Podcast, the original podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Minogue.
And I'm Brian Hines.
It's a Monday in the feed. You know what that means. We are sitting down with another personality around OVW, this time in the form of the 11th Warrior, Jamin Olivencia. Jamin, how are you?
Oh, I'm happy to be alive. How are you guys doing today? Thanks for having me again. Here we are.
It's our pleasure. We're glad to have you back in the studio.
I will say this about the last time that you came by. That was one of the most well-received interviews we've ever done. We had people in the parking lot of Davis Arena pulling us to the side and saying, wow, I knew there had to be so much more to Jamin, and I'm so glad you did that interview with him, and I got to see a little bit of it. And that wasn't just one person. I heard a similar sentiment a couple of different times after that video dropped. So we are very happy to have you back. I'm sure our listeners are very happy to have you back, and thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, that's an incredible compliment, and I'm lucky to have conversations with you guys, and you guys were willing to go deep with me. Those are the things that are important to me. Mm-hmm. And it's always nice when you are talking to folks like yourselves that are open and come in with curiosity, and really we're all learning from each other, and I think that's kind of the whole point of all this, right? Like, we're here and we're ultimately just sharing a message with the world. Whatever that message may be doesn't matter, but it shall come out how it needs to.
Absolutely. I do, before we get too deep, because we're going to get there, folks. It's been a big couple of weeks for you in your professional wrestling career. Banger of a match with Cal Hero. Then, of course, this past Thursday night as we're recording, about 6 days ago as we're recording, and you left kind of your final message to a fan base that has loved you for many years, a place where you started, a place that I know is very special to you. Just coming off the back of the last couple of weeks, what's going through your head? How are you feeling? Are you excited that it's over? Are you happy that it's over? Is it relief? Is there sorrow?
I'm at peace. I think for me that's where I'm at. It's all those emotions. Mm-hmm. There's happiness. There's a sense of sadness. It's bittersweet. Mm-hmm. It's too tart. It's too sugary. It's too salty. It's a bit of everything. But I think leading to it all, I understood no matter where I am in life, this was going to happen somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, this experience has been extraordinary because in the wrestling business, especially our business, it is very, very difficult to get a send-off that goes your way. Mm-hmm. And this entire reign, this entire run that I've done, I feel I had my hands in everything of it, every part of it. And yes, there's collaborators, but I mean, in terms of the vision and what I saw for myself, it happened exactly, I think, how I saw it, and much more. Because what I wasn't anticipating, I was anticipating on my end that, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to have this last run, and it will be what it will be, and I'm going to give it all I got and make it entertaining for people, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing I didn't anticipate was the amount of support and love that came out for me probably midway through this run. I started to really see people, you being one of them, by the way, but all of you guys, and seeing, I think, an appreciation for my work and everything I put into these 20-plus years of wrestling come to fruition for me in a way that put me at peace, too, even prior to this all ending. But, the retirement, my retirement speech wasn't, I don't think, something I thought I needed to say until actually after I fought Cal.
Sure.
And it all happened very quickly for me. In my mind, it's, I lost fair and square and move on. That was it. But to then have a last minute idea, hey, I would like to do this, and politely asked Al Snow if I could do that, assuming that maybe he would even say no, not because he wouldn't do that for me, but because they're running a TV show. And they gave me a shit ton of time to express myself. And all that showed me was all the respect they had for me, the trust they had for me to even give me that amount of time. And I'm super, super grateful for that. There's just no way, like, I think a story couldn't have been written any better for myself through this experience and everything I've gone through leading up to it, really.
Sure. When you start making the decision of walking down the road towards retirement, what's some of the indicators that you knew it was maybe time to close the chapter of professional wrestling in your life?
I have evolved as a human, and wrestling took a kid who was sad, who didn't believe in himself, and I think gave me a confidence that not only I needed for pro wrestling, but the world. And it has equipped me with a ton of talents, and also the pain of losing wrestling at one point in my life had equipped me with all of the fire and pain I needed in order to grow into what we're experiencing right now. And yeah, it's you know, to be fair, I'm still, I think, wrapping my head around it all.
Sure, it's a whirlwind, man.
It's a whirlwind. Gratitude, though, just keeps popping up for me because it's this journey has taught me so much about life. You know, with everything that happened with WWE 10 years ago, I feel like I erased it all. I was able to reclaim who I am, my power, and how I did that was being able to express myself to the fullest. You know, you think about if I were to have the opportunity to go to WWE, and let's say I got my way, you only get so far without them telling you what you need to be or what your look is or what this, you know, I had a hand, like,
there's 1,000 examples of that too. People that you would think they have no notes for, and all of a sudden, oh, we got to pick apart what makes this person special or why this person's connecting with the crowd. You know, I'm sure in your position that that wasn't maybe wasn't as much room for compromise for you as there would be other performers.
I just think unless you're. Are we talking in the terms of WWE?
Sure.
Okay, so I think in terms, I think it's not that. I think it's just WWE has, you know, they're a well-fined, oiled business, and I think when they see you, they know what they want out of you. Period. I think it's as simple as that.
Like you can never exceed those expectations.
I think I could have done it, and in many ways, I believe I could do anything. And who knows? Maybe that will pop up in my life. But WWE, they prepare their storylines typically 6 months to a year in advance, so they already know who their guys are. And unless you're in that shuffle. And I think unless you're impacting people, I think if I was there, I would be able to impact people in a particularly different way. Maybe not so much through my performances, although that would be a part of it. But I think helping the culture of wrestling, because it's a very ego-driven business.
Yeah.
And to be fair to WWE, I don't know what the culture is like there today. TKO owns it. I don't know how people feel, but I get the impression that when I watch it. I feel like a lot of these guys, yes, they're making money and they're stars, but I feel like they're zoo animals in other ways too. And to be able to craft a story and be able to play that story out and to experience that and to suggest things week after week, and I don't want to use the term get your way, but my insights were valued, and I appreciated that. That's like some of the best gifts I can get. So when we talk about, going back to your question though, because I'm kind of going off here. You asked me what was the thing though. If I had to say, the thing is, I love jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu has changed my life. It's a martial art, for those who don't know. I love jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu healed me I started 3 years ago when my mother had passed away. And jiu-jitsu in many ways is kind of what inspired me to get back into wrestling, because it gave me a confidence again about myself that I was like, oh, people are telling me in jiu-jitsu, hey, you're actually pretty good for a guy who doesn't know anything, you know, and you start getting confidence. You're like, oh, okay, I can do these things, and whatever, you know, paradigms I created about myself to myself, suddenly all just kind of slips away, and you start getting this confidence on top of my daughter, But the thing that's been plaguing me for a very long time and will plague me for the rest of my life is I don't have an ACL and I don't have an MCL. So when I'm performing with no ligaments, basically, in my knee. And so what's happening is when the ring bounces, my kneecap is going into my shin constantly.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's quite literally a war for me to do this over and over and over again. But what I knew about myself is I have enough confidence in who I am, despite all this, to go out there and still perform at a high level.
Yeah.
Because I believe in myself, and my heart was the one that was running the charge. My soul, my spirit, whatever you want to call it, my essence. It knew that it had to, for lack of a better term, finish its story.
Sure.
It had to experience that evolution, because I think as I continue to grow as a human being, the things I'm going to do are only going to get even bigger. And big in the sense that I've always seen great things for myself. And one of those main things is helping people and helping them get out of their heads and their minds. Because let's face it, right now there are a lot of people suffering out there.
Yeah.
But I think it's sometimes as simple as they just need to have more awareness. Not so much you need to change this, you need to just have more awareness of yourself. And I think I want to be someone in this world that helps people understand themselves just a little bit better.
I think it's really funny that you touched on that, too, because that was such kind of the overarching plot device of the feud between you and Cal Hero, is you want to teach him, you want to unlock a different version of him, you want to get him to the next level. And then, of course, when you came back, it wasn't as straightforward as you have this title that I want. It was, I'm still here to teach you. And you mentioned earlier that you had, you know, your hands kind of all over everything in the run. Was that like an important element to bring to that feud, is teaching, that real life desire that you have to teach?
So, truth be told, you know, 2 years ago when I was showing up at OVW just to say hello and watch the shows, when I met Cal, I saw a lot of myself in him. And, you know, regardless of what you think of Cal, listen, anyone listening to this, if you think I'm good at what I do, and you value my opinion, trust me when I say this, Cal Hero is going to be a big star in professional wrestling. He is 23 years old. He has a lot to learn, of course, but he's been put with the championship. The company rides on his back. He's a good-looking kid. Yep. He's still learning. And what I think I appreciated about him was his stoicism when I first met him. And I'm thinking to myself, the way you carry yourself is like a 28-year-old.
Yeah.
You're like someone who's been in the business for a very long time. And to his credit, he's been, I think, wrestling for 7 years, but he's 23.
Right.
So, you know, our paths were very similar in the same sense. I started wrestling very young, too, like 16, 17. And by the time you're like 23, you're almost basically a veteran in your own respects. And Cal was displaying this to me in conversations we would have, and I told him years ago, and it's something him and I had a long discussion about shortly after our fight. But it was we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. And
if you were to be a fly on the wall back then and see us having that conversation, one might say, oh, yeah, we'll see. You know, it's wrestling. You never know. But I had this strong soul desire as this is the guy that I have to wrestle. Mm-hmm. I have to fight this guy at least once. I want to, if you want to call it passing the torch, I have to do it with this guy because he embodies everything. You know, there was times him and I would train. This was before any feuds or fights, and we were sparring in the ring. And I wanted to go with a different feel than what pro wrestling always is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get ready for a match, you lock up. And I said, you know, I'd like to see more fire out of you. Show me like a real fighter. And he's such a good kid. And what happened is over these sparring sessions in jiu-jitsu, and like I said, this is way prior before even the idea of wrestling. This is just us training together and helping him out.
Sure.
And the more I worked with him, the more I started to see how freaking good he was, from his movements to the way he felt. He's poised in there. He's a professional in there. I can't say enough good things about Cal Hero.
Sure.
And leading up into our fight, I had respect for him then, even though it was perceived that I didn't. I mean, I think that's the big misconception, is this idea. You talked about it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when did I ever mention a title
No.
that you see?
No.
Like, I'm going for something deeper. I want to tell a story that is real, that is meaningful, and my hope is that people walked away from that story not feeling one way or another way, but maybe with a lesson of this is how life turns out. And people have a way of bringing out the best in you and vice versa. And I think Cal and I both recognize that after all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure as time starts to dwindle by, I will get a better perspective on it than I can give you now, because I'm still in it and emotionally in many respects. And my drive to help younger talent will never go away, or to help OVW in any way I possibly can. Even if it was an on-screen character, I don't see myself getting out of the business per se. I just think the way I need to allocate my energy needs to be a little different. And I think I can serve talent who need the help, who need the advice, because I see wrestling differently than them. I look at wrestling as a spiritual endeavor. I think it's an opportunity to move people, not through just good guy and bad guy storylines.
Sure.
This is for the title. But, you know, I like to think of it as, and by God, I'm not comparing myself in any way to this, but I always grew up loving Disney, because Disney had a way of telling stories that taught you lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And whether things go your way or not, I think people can always walk away from a lesson, good or bad, feeling good about it. Because oftentimes, as I said, the depths to which we fall is the strength from which we rise. And I've learned that firsthand in my life. And I lean into that every time. If I have a bad day, I lean into it. Oh, okay, things are not going my way. That's what I look at as a bad day for people. It's things didn't go my way. If you think about it, right?
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about life? My mom used to say this to me. Hey, Jamin, what's the hardest thing about life? And I'm like, I don't know, school, it sucks, I'm stupid. No, you just didn't get your way. That's it. So if you can get that out of the way.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful lesson.
You see? If you
Yeah.
can just get that out of the way, this idea, then there's room to pivot and grow. Yeah.
It's so easy and I think we're taught ultimately, maybe in this world or this country or some combination of both, that like self-victimization is a capital that we can exchange with each other. And it sounds like your mom kind of made sure that wasn't a lesson that you picked up from the world, right?
Yeah, my mom was big on not having an excuse for why something didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Her philosophy was, hey, it's all your fault. Like, everything you experience is your fault. And not from the standpoint of, not in a derogatory kind of way. It's
Sure.
more like, take responsibility for your experience. Take responsibility for your choices, your actions, the way you think, your deeds, what you're thinking inside. You know, on the outside, we could be talking right now. On the inside, you might be thinking I'm an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like,
No.
And the rib is, for the person who may be thinking that, the rib is you're hurting yourself, actually. Because we're putting ourselves in a state of mind that isn't progressive. It will only make you feel less or make you feel worse, you know.
Yeah.
And the idea is that you don't want to erase those type of thoughts. That's not the idea.
Can't.
You can't. These things, you're going to have feelings and emotions, but I think the bigger idea is the awareness behind it. Can you say to yourself, okay, that was a bit too much on my end today, or maybe I shouldn't have went about it this way, and you have to learn to accept it. You know, my speech, I had a whole speech plan, and it took me like 4 hours to write. I wrote this freaking long-ass speech, actually a lot shorter than what I talked, but I had worked so hard on it because I was thinking to myself, this is so meaningful to me. I have to like hit a home run for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is my mind completely went blank because I started to feel the actual emotion, not the emotion that I was going to anticipate as a performer.
Right.
I started to feel the actual emotion that this is a big moment for me, actually.
Yeah.
And my soul was yearning for something else. And the quick thought was, ugh, what are you doing? That was the quick thought. But there was also the other thought of, but accept this, submit to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what life is showing you right now. And that's what I did. And looking back on it now, I smile at it because it felt worse than it actually was. But it was because I worked so damn hard on this script. You know, I'm not a ChatGPT guy when it comes to that stuff because I think even if you are, I think it's just really important to always put your authenticity in things because that's what people feel at the end of the day. You know, when I get business emails today, it's you could tell like everything's written in AI.
Yeah.
And I'm not connecting with the person. Doesn't mean that the person's not someone you can connect with.
Yeah, sure.
But you know, we're all looking for faster ways to get things done. So it's not about AI and all this. It's more about I value connection, and I had realized in that moment I wasn't. Even though I went through all this trauma and trying to get this right. I realized in the moment that's not the real connection, though, and so to connect in the moment, as we are now, really, I think is where heaven's at, because we're present, and that's where only true things can be born for your future is with how you're thinking right now. So once again, let's go back real fast. If the thought was, let's flip it around. Let's say I'm thinking you guys are assholes while I'm talking. You know,
Yeah.
The rib is on me because I am coming from a place of I don't want to use the word hate, but there's disgust in your heart, and it just kind of muddies the waters for no reason. And so the mind is very important to be paying attention to, and I think all of us can do a better job of that, including myself, by the way.
Yeah. No, and any adventure into self-improvement, the kind of echoing your mother's sentiment, it all comes down on you. At the end of the day, like, yeah, man, it's easy to have shitty days. It's easy to be around shitty people, et cetera, but the onus is still on you to improve your situation.
100%. It's always within your reach, too. And I think that's a misconception that sometimes we feel in our lives. Like, how am I going to ever... Sometimes you might suffer for a year or so, but really I think it is how quick can you take accountability for the things that you were doing that led you to that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the quicker we catch that with the net, the faster your karma is cleared. Karma to me meaning who you are is what your life becomes. And if who you are is someone who does things that are questionable at times, even if you know you're not supposed to, but you're not taking accountability to yourself or the people that you may or may not have hurt along the way or whatever, I think it becomes difficult because then you're in denial. And then you're lying to yourself. And now we're playing with a really nice game of karma here, because the game then becomes, I lie to myself, karma gives me something that lies to myself. I lie to myself, karma gives me something to lie to myself. So I think, do you understand what I'm saying?
No, 100%,
by that?
100%.
You know, it's all breadcrumbs. The question is it to a mansion or is it to skull and bones?
I do have kind of a off-topic but on-topic question. What's a resource, like a book or something like that you would suggest to people that are really vibing with the things that you're saying about perception and spirit and heart? And what's something that maybe sticks out to you, something that changed you?
That's a good question. I probably read a handful of books in my life. Not a reader.
Sure.
But okay, when I was 22, I read a book called The Voice of Knowledge.
Okay.
By Don Miguel Ruiz. He wrote the 4 Agreements. Are you familiar with that book?
I'm not.
No.
And I don't want to butcher this because it's been so long, but what the book helped me with is understand. I'm a sensitive guy, so I feel people, and then I'm anticipating certain things sometimes based on what I'm feeling from people. And for me as a young man, the difficulty was, how do I balance all of this in my psyche? Because I can be standing with you and I can know you may not like me, but you're being nice to me.
Yeah.
But then the discomfort of knowing that you don't like me still is overshadowing
Drives
the fact
you
that you're
nuts a
being
little
nice.
bit?
Yeah, it did. It did. I couldn't write those things off. And then the question was, well, what am I doing to make this person feel this way? And I don't want to make this person feel this way. And I think what that book helped me with was understanding not to take things personally. Like, I think one of the rules in that book is don't take things personal.
Yeah.
Don't tell yourself too many stories. So, and something my mom used to preach to my brothers and I about a lot growing up was imagination. That imagination is, in fact, the key to all success. Because the idea is that, well, let's put it this way. We're in this room. We have microphones. We have cameras. We have this wall that you guys are about to set up. You guys just had a flood. It probably took some imagination to get it all going, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what we forget is that imagination's always at play. Wait a second. What does this mean then?
Yeah.
Well, if imagination is always at play, then I would advise everyone to be in awareness that what you tell yourself in that imagination, good or the bad, or this or that, is probably going to play a role into what you experience in your life. You see, people talk about manifestation as in something's coming to me. I am manifesting this to me. But manifestation is simply, to me, it's coming out of me. I am the projector. I am the pole that which everything floats around me. And the only reason why we're here, all of us that are here together, and the people that listen to this, the only reason why we're here is because we're all similar in some way.
Yes.
So I would argue that the cosmos, or the particles that we are around particles that it is, because that's what was needed for that moment. So if it came through the vehicle of Jamin, if it came through the vehicle of Cal Hero, or whatever, you or all of us, like, then so be it. It came. So we're all responsible for being here. Do you understand that? Does that make sense?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I get a little floaty, so I have to ground myself sometimes.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You mentioned that you kind of had this huge, tumultuous, maybe won't be the right word, but you had a hard time writing what you wanted to be your retirement speech.
Yeah.
And then you get in that moment where you realize that you got to make it audible and that you got to be real and you've got to connect. What was the moment walking back through the curtain? Like, what was your reaction to the way that you've changed your plans? What was your reaction to the things that you said off the cuff?
So I was not happy because, and by the way, let me say this, and I've always been this way throughout my whole career, and perhaps it's a reason why, if you want to call me, I don't know if I call myself talented, but if you want to call me talented, I would say the reason why my talent's there is because I don't think I ever watched anything I've ever done and was like, yeah, I'm the man.
Okay.
I never felt that way. I think I would always watch something back and critique and pick apart everything I did, from my movements to what face I was making in the moment, to my kicks, my punches. Are they intense enough? Do they feel like I was looking for I was always looking for, like, can I feel this from me? And oftentimes there are moments in performances throughout my career where I think almost all moments where I would look back and say, I am not happy about this. You know what moment I was happy with? The match with Cal. I think that was the first time I ever watched a match where I was like, I'm content with that.
Your last match?
Yeah, I was actually content with it because we were going pretty hard at each other in the beginning, and we were throwing real punches, and we're going at it, and there was a level of realism to me that, not just from a performance standpoint, but it was real in the senses this is the last time I get to show out a little bit, and I want to show all my skills that I've learned in life, not just pro wrestling, in martial arts and everything, and be able to express that in a dance called a fight. And it was all very real to me in that regard. And I'm not sure if am I still on your question, though, in terms of...
no, for sure. Just like, I think you...
how did I feel?
Yeah, how did... You mentioned that you weren't happy at first.
No. I walked back to a group of people crying, telling me how amazing it was, and I was still in ego mode, stuck in the moment. And I think it was that night. This is interesting. This is a little personalized here, but that night I couldn't sleep because I'd realized it was all over. Yeah. I'm actually about to get choked up, so hang on a second. What was interesting, though, so I was born in '85, so I'm a '90s kid.
Sure. Yeah.
And do you guys remember the song? They played it in that show Dahmer. Please don't go. Don't go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Okay, it was the ’90s version. It was like a more poppy version.
Yeah.
And I don't know why or how, but I was watching my promo back, or my speech on my computer. And my phone was randomly on YouTube. I think I had my phone open, looking for emails for business and et cetera. And what happened, I don't know how it happened, but that song on YouTube, I accidentally must have clicked it or something. I hadn't listened to it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I have a '90s playlist, so it might have just was in the playlist and I hit it. So anyway, and I'm hearing the song as it's like happening all at once while I'm watching the promo. And I turn down the song, but I'm hearing, please don't go, don't go. and there was something about that moment that was magical because two things were happening. One, I was witnessing the end of what I think was a fucking epic career. But also, I was witnessing a child version of me hearing a '90s song, something that reminded me of my past, and when I was so passionate about doing that thing that I did even.
Right.
And so it was like two worlds were colliding, and the true integration of who I am became the ultimate weapon in that moment. Almost as if you've watched Dragon Ball Z when someone becomes a Super Saiyan.
No, I've got Piccolo socks on right now.
Yeah, you sure do. You sure do.
This
that's
one's
fantastic.
this
that's
one's
hilarious.
Donatello, but the other one is Piccolo.
I love it. So, to me, as simple as something like that is, may not sound exciting to someone else, but for me, it was a combination of my life just coming together as far as that category of it is concerned, wrestling, which could be argued as one of the most important categories next to my family because it was my dream. And I always knew I was going to be the man. I always knew I was going to make it. I always knew I was going to be a top guy. I always knew I could put on main event performances, even if I wasn't the main event. I always knew. And the WWE experience that, it's hard to know. It's hard to know when the WWE, the hottest chick in the room, wants you and you make a mistake that screws it up for you. That's one of the hardest things I had to swallow for many years. I made a mistake by approaching Triple H, and I screwed it all up because I picked him at the wrong time. And then this whole lie goes out about me, right?
Right.
Which was icing on the cake in the worst possible way for me. So to have your reputation be destroyed by all this was so soul-crushing.
Yeah.
Because it's all I ever dreamed of. I was so sure. I remember in OVW back in the day, we were there with the contract guys, Cody Rhodes, all these guys are. And I remember back in the day, my teacher, or Rip Rogers, he said, he would say, there's only going to be 2% of you that make it in this room. And most people, when people hear that, they might question themselves.
Just a little.
Sure.
Not me. I was like, I'm that 2%. I am of royalty. I am of this. I know I can do this. And So when that is all crushed in front of you, right?
Yeah. And how you're over a decade into your career by this point?
Yes.
Yeah. So over 10 years of your life, you felt as if you.
Yeah, I was 12. I think I was actually year 13 or something when it happened. And but here's the crazy thing. Then athletically, I was awesome. It wasn't until recently when I was looking through old footage of me because OVW had asked for some stuff, and I'm witnessing, whoa, now I see what people saw all along, but I couldn't see it because my head was so far up my ass, like I always wanted to be better. But I had seen, wow, now I see what people see. But the difference is, if you were to ask me who's a better performer, I would say this one today, because I had matured as a man, and the 11th warrior persona, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
I call it my higher self. It's how I see myself when I'm out of body. I see myself with armor, and I see myself with a sword, and I see myself as a beacon of light for this world, not because I'm great, but because it's my disposition on earth. It is my mission, and this is how I see my life. And I don't shy away from that because I believe in what it is. And to be able to express that, once again, in the way, and going back to all what we talked about in the very beginning, to be able to express that in the way you want to express it doesn't happen in this industry. And that's how I know always that my angels, my guides, whatever you want to call it God, call it the universe, is always watching over me because it trusts me with the light. And my goal as a human is to make sure my shit's together so that I can help other people get their shit together, which is probably the hardest thing for me as a person. But it is also the most rewarding thing as a person when you see the smile on someone else for a second. Oh, okay, this is why I bust my ass as a human and constantly have to evolve. And now moving past wrestling, the idea is that I'm evolving. So if it's in the form of creating content for OVW, if it's in the form of helping the wrestlers, if it's all of those things on top of my business and helping people, then yeah, that's the mission. The mission continues. Yes.
I was just gonna ask what you think it is about wrestling that makes it so hard for people to leave behind, not just like completely leave behind, but also to stay out of the ring as a performer.
There's many answers to the question. There's many answers to the question. I would suppose it depends on who you are. I think the hardest part for people is the drug of feeling the rush of when people cheer or boo you, or when you can make them feel an emotion you wanted. It's very addicting. It's like probably playing an instrument and being someone and doing concerts all the time. It's like this rush, and even when you're in it, you're tired and you're beat up, and you're like, "Fuck, I don't know if I want to do another show." And but then when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, you come back the next week and you do it anyway again. So I just think wrestling is a very unique thing where we get to not only be a rock star, but we get to be a movie star. We get to be a wrestler. Yeah. We get to be a fighter. We get to be an actor or this or that. You're all these things kind of grouped into one. And for me, if I had to go deeper with this, I would suggest that I got into wrestling because I just wanted to be loved by people. Because I think as a kid I knew my potential, but I don't think I understood how to understand physical reality. I don't think I understood how to look at physical reality. I think it was difficult for me. But I knew I was a little bit of a light, and because people would gravitate towards me even when I was a kid, and I would be very shy and withdrawn, actually. I didn't like talking to people, and I would get high amounts of anxiety when people would come talk to me. And I would always get annoyed. I'm like, why are these people around? Why do they like me? And I'm not even talking. And when you're a kid, you're trying to wrap this all around your head while trying to understand physical reality, while trying to understand why 1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah, no shit, man.
And when I saw wrestling as a kid, other than having a vision of it, I knew I was going to do it. And wrestling had, I think, in many ways, as I said earlier, had freed me from the confidence I didn't have. I didn't have confidence and I wanted it. Wrestling gave me that, essentially. So, what's the hardest part? I think because now my perception had changed, right? So I'm saying I did all this to be loved, but I really did it because I loved it, but I also secretly wanted to be loved, and then you get that, and that falls off your back of wanting to be loved. It's not about that anymore. Then it's about the performances, and then after that, and this time it became about purpose.
Right.
I came back to have a strong purpose to not only lift Cal Hero, but OVW, and give them a quality show, at least through my performances, to the best of my ability. Is this making sense?
No, 100%.
We're on the same track?
Yeah. I guess what I would say to that is kind of what was it after you left wrestling that let you know that you could be loved without wrestling?
Loving myself.
And then by the time you come back to wrestling, is there any element, any sliver left of that Jamin Olivencia that was doing it because he wanted to be loved, or was this Jamin Olivencia doing it because he loved it?
No, this Jamin Olivencia, this version of me was the most... It was the version of me that had the most intent behind. It knew exactly what it wanted. I knew exactly what I wanted out of this run, and it wasn't to be admired, which to my surprise I ended up getting that.
Oh yeah.
But I did not, but I wasn't going in with the intent, and to my surprise it actually made me feel a certain way, because see, that circle came full around in some way too, right? Although I didn't enter it with this intention. The intention for me was I want to impact as many people as I possibly can through this story. And whether people understand this story or not, I'm going to impact them, whether it be through the performance of the matches, whether it be making them laugh, whether it be through this or that. It didn't matter. I knew the impact, and I knew the message that I wanted to portray in this character. You know, everyone, I think, a lot of guys backstage would come up to me and say, "Oh, you're a bad guy," and I'd say, "I'm not a bad guy." Well, it doesn't make sense then. Why are you wrestling? No, I'm here to teach Cal, to evolve him. Jamin, the human being, and the 11th Warrior Jamin, the wrestler, is the same person. And my philosophy goes, I will love you and hate you into expansion until everyone wakes up. So I will be the challenge that kills you and causes your rebirth. And when the phoenix of your determination rises again, you will be a champion of my cause.
So, Hines, I know that you and Jamin, there was so much last time that we sat down with Jamin that you kept kind of coming up with. I want to kind of turn it over to you for a little bit. Let's get metaphysical. You know, do your thing, man.
Excuse me. So the last time we got together, we got off on the deep end a little bit. And we didn't really get much of a chance to touch on this. But a lot of the things that you've spoken about today and in our previous conversation remind me a lot of one person in particular, and that person has taught me quite a bit through films and his work, and that is David Lynch. I know that we touched on it briefly, but the biggest influence as far as his creative endeavors go, for me would be the TV show from when I was you're a 90s kid. Maybe you'll remember this. It was a show called Twin Peaks back in the day.
I remember it, never seen it, but I do remember it.
Okay. There are a lot of the themes that you're talking about today that are part of this show as well, but they're not in a straightforward lesson kind of way, like you're sitting down in a classroom. It's like you get to observe this person in this situation and how they react to the surroundings and the people with them and stuff. What are some real life lessons that wrestling has taught you, and what are some real life lessons that wrestling has taught you that you can pass on to other people?
So, for me, is you have to know yourself in this business, because this business is, listen, this is we're all our own independent contractors. So we're our own businesses. So we're constantly on the defense right off the bat, because you're going to do whatever it takes to make sure your character or whatever it is you're trying to sell to people is going to be successful. And that can cause stirs when people are putting matches together. That can cause stirs in business. It could be, I mean, depending on how far your ego wants to go, I would say you have to have self-awareness. And I think one of the biggest lessons I learned in wrestling was, I'm going to say this and it's going to sound crude. Maybe not crude, but I'm going to continue my escapade of swearing, because my teacher Rip told me this years ago when I was really young in the business, and it's something I'd experienced firsthand and something I experienced by following what he said, and that is the quote, "Never miss an opportunity to shut the fuck up."
We've heard a similar sentiment, never put exactly that way, but we've heard a lot of wrestlers, successful wrestlers especially, say that that's the first lesson.
Just shut your mouth and bust your ass, and if you're the top guy, I'm going to go back to Cal for a second, if you don't mind.
Sure.
No, for sure.
I'm going to give you an example why I think he's the fucking best, okay? Because when this guy, okay, so I don't know if this is out. I'm going to air a little bit of dirty laundry. Cal would get criticized because they would say, because he's the promoter of his son, he's getting all these special treatment, all this nepotism. In fact, and take it from me, it couldn't have been further from the truth. Cal was the guy that I can call and say, we're going to do this, we're going to train, we're going to make a piece of content about you, we're going to do whatever, and he is there early, last one to leave. Oftentimes we'd go to training where people are supposed to be there.
Yeah.
It would just be me and Cal. So when those same people, and I don't know who it is, but when people do say like, oh, no, this dude is busting his ass all the freaking time. Wrestling is in his blood.
Yeah.
And this dude would show up with me. A class is typically a couple hours. This dude's showing up with me. He's hanging out for 4 to 5 hours, and we're putting everything together to be the best performer he can be. It wasn't even really for me as much as it was I enjoyed helping somebody on their journey, and he was always down for it. And it's one of the main reasons why I respect him. And I think this business, I think people in this business struggle with a little bit of delusion. They think they're so great, but if you're so great, you got to be in the ring constantly.
Yeah.
If you want to be as good, if you really want to be good, and I put my time in, I think I could say this, yeah. If you want to be the fucking man, you got to train like you're the fucking man. You got to train like a champion. And way before Cal was even champion, he was doing all of these things.
Right.
And the poor kid would get criticized, and even at one point he asked me what do I think of it? And I'd say, you know what I think? Shut the fuck up and work hard and continue to shove it up their ass.
Yeah.
Because that, no matter what, it's always going to be the excuse. But Cal is furthest from the truth. Real recognizes real. And I can confidently tell you that kid had it. And those are qualities for me in wrestling that get people to the top. It's the reason why CM Punk is there. It's the reason why John Cena is at the top. It's the reason why Randy Orton was at the top. These people just made it the craft. Cody Rhodes, my gosh. These people are, by the way, all OVW guys. What do
Right.
you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm
course,
saying?
of course.
course. So the energy that OVW even carries can create such stars. And even if it's one out of the bunch in Cal, or even if it was when I was there back then, I was probably one out of a handful that were really good. And by the way, the handful that were really good were all friends. And by the way, We constantly trained our asses off, talked wrestling, and always looked for ways to improve. We didn't sit there and blow each other up with compliments and say,
Yeah, sure.
"Oh, dude, you're the man," and you're the, like today I see this in guys, and I'm like, "Oh, they're looking for highlight reels. They wanna," but I'm looking to tell stories. I think stories is how you make money, and I see a lack of that today in wrestling. I see a lack of. I don't mean to sound cynical either.
No,
I think I just want to give people things to think about. I see a lack of taking your time and selling and making things mean something in the ring. I think performance is everything, and I think if we treat each performance like it's our most important performance. Forget about what's going on 2 weeks from now. Forget about the title match that you got going on.
Yeah.
Think about this hype video. Forget about all this shit. Let's focus on what's in front of us. Because once again, I'll say it again, very important to understand. The only way you're going to move mountains is you have to be present in it. It's the only way. We can't be thinking about what's for dinner when we're in the middle of the ring performing. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And I just think these are the things for me that make a successful superstar, and you got to have that work ethic, and that's not something that can be taught. It has to live inside you. It has to breathe through you. It has to be everything to you. And for me, it was all that, and even this run was all that. And I loved how you put it, because you said, I know this run means something to him, something along those lines.
Yeah, I think it was very obvious. I mean, you've talked a lot through this conversation about connecting with people. I think it was very obvious how much you connected with people during this run. I think the last year and a half or so, ever since you came back, the start of the revolution, I could hear there was a gasp when they pulled your mask off. People didn't forget about you. That's how much you connected with these people, is they were excited to see you back. They didn't expect it, but I heard an audible, is that Jamin Olivencia? I think that's Jamin Olivencia. I haven't seen him around here in so long. Like, people, it's so obvious how much you connected with these OVW fans over the years.
Which I'm grateful for, and I'll take the time right now to thank them for sticking by me, because these people listen, and not just in OVW, but all wrestling fans that got to know me over the years and from different states and whatever, all the fans, they stuck by me and stuck even in my worst times. I'm trying to make content to pull myself out of it, motivational content and things to tell people and be all spiritual, and I'm trying to find myself when I don't have this avatar of wrestling that I can stand up on and say, I'm a wrestler. And it was hard to do it on my own, and when I was doing that, those people showed out on my socials, and they would always support me, and that I appreciate. In other words, they never gave up on me, whether I was a wrestler or not.
Yeah.
And here I am today. I'm grateful to say I have a successful business, and I can sit here with so much peace in my heart with all of it, with everything I've experienced up to this point.
Yeah.
Now the pain makes sense to me. Now everything I went through makes complete sense. It was all setting up anyway for a greater version of me that needed to be born and that can be seen by the people that need to see it. Forget about fame, forget about notoriety, forget about likes and comments. It was all about, to me, whoever sees this, I just hope I moved you in some way. That's it. Very simple. Very simple. Just hope I moved you a little bit.
Right.
Was I the push that shoved you a little bit more? Great. Was I not your cup of tea, but you were emotional about that? Great.
Yeah. That's the name of the game.
Yes.
That's literally the name of the game. I do have one last question. Heinz, unless you have anything else.
No, not right now.
And it's a question that you asked me the first time that we met, within 30 seconds of meeting. And that moment has stuck with me ever since it happened, and was the beginning of a lot of I was in therapy at the time, and I thought I was making progress, and I definitely was making progress. But this question that you asked me was the start of me really being able to put together the way that I felt about life and the skills I was learning in therapy, and then also just this wanting to be like a better person, or wanting to live a more truer life, right? And that question is very simple. Are you happy?
Am I happy?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Every day. even when I don't feel happy. The game to me, do you think cavemen, and like think about this, do you think cavemen were looking at each other and saying, boy, I'm having a bad day? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, it's raining. Okay, got to get some shelter probably. It's probably the thought. They're present in everything. And I don't look at things as good or bad. Mm-hmm. So let's say I'm not feeling happy.
Right.
I can go to bed at night, say a prayer, and thank whatever it is out there for the life I have, regardless if I'm suffering in that moment or not. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the ultimate trump card, because the idea is that you are, despite what is you're feeling, you're sticking to a faith. Whether it's religion or this or that, you're sticking to a sense of trust. And to me, faith and trust is the turbine that keeps things moving. Hope is very important. And so the answer, very simply, is absolutely. I am very happy. I'm very content. And I'm hungry for more in this life. You know, and I think that's exciting to me.
Jamin, thank you so much for sitting down with us this afternoon, man. I would usually ask to plug the social medias, but I'm a little too happy with this one to do commercials at the end. So.
Yeah, no, we don't need commercials. It's cool.
Yes,
if you want to find me, you'll
much.
find me. It's not that hard.
Jamin, thank you so much, man.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
We really
Thanks
appreciate it.
Really appreciate you guys. Thank you.